Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're unpacking a single source that really caught our eye. It's a transcript from a YouTube video called How to Be Hot.
Yeah, and, before you think this is all makeup tutorials or fashion, this source actually goes in a totally different direction. It sort of redefines hot.
How so?
Well, it's less about the physical look, much more about an internal state, like a powerful presence.
Exactly. The video argues it's about your aura. Yeah, your mindset, your charisma, something that actually attracts people and opportunities to you, almost like effortless.
Almost magnetic internal energy.
Yeah.
So our mission, really, in this deep dive, is to pull out the key ideas from this transcript. What does this source suggest are the fundamental principles for building this kind of attractive inner state?
Okay, let's dive into this transcript and see what really makes someone hot, at least according to this pretty unique perspective.
Right. So right at the heart of it, the core principle seems to be this distinction between attracting and chasing.
Okay, attracting versus chasing. So it's saying a hot person attracts and maybe a non-hot person chases. Why frame it like that? What's the reasoning?
Well, the way it lays it out is a hot person operates from this place of internal abundance. They genuinely believe they're already whole, complete, possessing everything they need inside love, attention, adoration, even like money. They focus on providing these things for themselves first.
Oh, okay. So they're not looking outward for someone else to fill a gap or complete them.
Yeah.
And the source gives that really clear example, right? If someone isn't interested, they just let them go.
Yeah, they just let them go. There's this trust underneath it all that, I'm quoting loosely here, someone else will come. And someone better will come because you aren't, and oh wait, actually it's because you are an abundant being. Sorry, slight misquote there.
Right, because you are abundant.
Yes, whereas the source suggests a non-hot person sees that rejection and thinks, oh, I'm not good enough, which makes them chase harder.
Which, according to this, just pushes things away.
Precisely. So operating from abundance, it kind of dissolves that desperate energy,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If you really believe more is coming, you don't need to cling so tightly. It makes you think, like, in your own life, where do you feel that difference? Operating from abundance versus scarcity, How does that actually feel?
And building on that wholeness idea, the source describes this hot person as incredibly self-sufficient, proactive, especially with challenges.
They don't sound like they just sit around waiting, do they? The source mentions examples like if they're broke, they don't just worry.
No, they immediately think, okay, go out and find a way to make money.
Right.
Or if they're feeling down, they're not just, rotting in their bed.
Right.
Their first thought is, how can I figure this out? What can I do?
It's like a constant active mindset, always looking for improvement.
Exactly. Asking, how can I make myself better? And this seems to come from this really deep belief the source mentions, that nothing in this world or in this universe is too much for you.
Wow. That's a powerful belief to operate from. Because if nothing's too much, you don't get overwhelmed. You don't feel powerless.
Which links right back to not needing to chase.
Yeah, totally. It makes you wonder, when you face a challenge, is your first instinct to actively figure it out? Or, maybe wait and see?
And this proactivity, it connects directly to another key trait the source talks about.
Yeah. Knowing
your worth and having, really solid standards.
Okay, so if you know you're abundant internally and you believe you can handle anything, it follows you'd be clear in what you want and you wouldn't settle.
Right. The source says they have a clear vision, goals, achievements, the whole picture.
And they actively reject things that don't fit, like people, jobs, whatever.
Yeah, actively. The source is pretty blunt, actually. It says those things would just be a hassle or a waste of time if they don't align.
There's that specific example about dating, too. They wouldn't date someone who couldn't provide more than I already have or add to it.
Exactly. Whether it's happiness, love, wealth. The question posed is, if it's not growing you, then why are you there?
Oof. Direct.
Very. And the source really critiques settling. It basically puts the responsibility on the individual, saying, if you know you're abundant, if you know you could have anything, then settling is, well, it's a choice based on a limiting belief, not because you have to.
That's challenging, but also kind of empowering. It forces you to define your own value first. Makes you reflect, doesn't it? Like, what are your non-negotiables? And are there maybe areas where you are settling, even slightly, because of that scarcity mindset?
Definitely something to think about. Okay, moving on. The source puts a huge emphasis on authenticity.
This part was really interesting. It says authenticity is the highest vibration, even higher than love. That's quite a statement.
It is. It frames being unapologetically yourself as The ultimate confidence, the ultimate magnet.
So when it says vibration, it means like your energy, your presence.
Yeah, I think so. Your energetic presence or aura. And authenticity is the purest, most powerful version of that. They even give a simple test. Does this feel comfortable?
Ah, the comfort test.
Right. If yes, it's authentic for you, it adds to that high vibe. If no, it's not for you, and trying to fake it can actually backfire, make you seem insecure.
That's a practical check-in, and I liked the example about not being embarrassed by, past cringy stuff. If it was authentic then, it's just part of the journey. Maybe funny now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this authenticity links to how they handle negativity, criticism.
Okay, how so?
Well, being confident and grounded within themselves, as the source puts it, means comment or hate don't really land. They don't shake you.
You don't internalize it?
No. You see it more as a reflection of the other person. Maybe projection, maybe obsession. The source even suggests thinking, you saw something in me, didn't you?
That completely flips the script on criticism. It's about them, not you.
Interesting. How do you, check in with your own authenticity? And does that approach to criticism resonate, seeing it as external? Okay, another big piece, prioritizing self-care and setting really strong boundaries. These are presented as totally non-negotiable.
Being busy with self-care. It's not just bubble baths, is it? The source argues it's fundamental, how people treat you.
Yeah, it suggests thinking of life as a game and the way you step out is how you will be treated. So your self-care basically sets the standard.
And listening to your feelings is key for boundaries. Saying no if you want to say no.
Absolutely vital. The source warns that saying yes when you mean no disconnects you from yourself, from that authentic energy. And actually, people respect you more when you honor your own needs.
And speaking up for yourself, that seemed crucial too. Address things in the moment.
Yes. Don't let it slide. If something's offensive or hurts, call it out right then. Hey, I didn't like that. Why did you say that?
Why the immediacy?
Well, the source links. Not speaking up to resentment building up, like the inner child feeling unsafe, which then leads to these bigger explosions later.
So speaking up prevents that buildup.
Exactly. Doesn't matter who it is, the message is clear. Never let anyone talk down on you.
Wow. That's very direct advice, and probably quite hard for a lot of people to put into practice. Makes you think, when you make choices, is it based on what you want or what you feel you should do? And what happens inside when you don't speak up when you know you should have?
Yeah, good questions. Okay, shifting back to that abundance mindset. The source talks about how this person reacts when they see other people succeeding.
Yes. Inspiration over jealousy. The source says this hot person isn't a hater. Why not?
Because hating comes from a lack mindset. Simple as that, according to this view.
So if you genuinely believe there's enough for everyone,
Then seeing someone else with nice things, looks, money, success, whatever, it's not a threat. It doesn't make you feel less than. It's just inspiration. Oh, cool. I can get that too.
So instead of feeling jealous, you use it as motivation.
Exactly. The source encourages asking yourself, how can I get more beautiful? Or how can I make more money? When you see someone inspiring, turn it into fuel rather than criticizing yourself or them.
The core belief being, if they did it, you can too.
That's the idea. If another person achieved it, then you can do it too. It just completely dissolves that competitive zero-sum game thinking.
That's a really powerful reframe. Imagine next time you feel that little pang of jealousy, consciously thinking, okay, how can this inspire me? Using this perspective.
Yeah. And this mindset, this sense of possibility, it leads right into the idea of deserving and receiving.
Okay, deserving. So
Right.
this person knows they deserve the best treatment. And the source connects this back to how they treat others and the value they place on themselves.
Right. They expect to be treated well like a queen, the source says, because that's the standard they set.
But there's that really important distinction again about attracting versus chasing.
Yes. You don't need anyone, but you want them. Neediness, desperation. The source has that colorful phrase, honey, honey, everything will run away from you. That's the opposite of this attractive energy.
So like the partner example again, you don't need one to be complete, but you might want one because it could be fun or you could learn something.
Exactly. And you handle little things, like someone not texting back, with ease. Because the feeling is, somebody else will text me. No panic.
Okay. And the flip side of attracting is receiving.
Yes, being able to receive, accepting help, gifts, compliments, blessings, whatever comes your way. It's presented as absolutely essential for getting more abundance from, the universe or God, whatever your belief system is.
So refusing help is actually bad.
In this view, yes. It's like you're denying something you might have asked for. You're blocking the flow.
The source tells that story about the waitress, right? Insisting she take a big tip.
Yeah, exactly. Explaining that accepting it shows the universe you're willing to be abundant, willing to receive. It reframes receiving from being like a burden or awkward to being an act of faith and abundance.
That really challenges how a lot of us feel about accepting things, doesn't it? Makes you think, is it easier for you to give or to receive? And what might open up if you practiced receiving more, even if it felt a bit weird at first?
Mm-hmm. And all these different pieces, they seem to be part of this ongoing journey. The source talks a lot about growth and letting go.
Right. The self is a lifelong project, always evolving, never quite arrived.
Exactly. And feeling stagnant, that sense of this is just not growing me anymore, is seen as a clear signal, a sign you're not meant to be there anymore.
So embracing change is key, even if it's scary.
According to this source, it's the only way to keep growing.
And letting go is presented as really powerful, necessary almost.
You know, letting go of people, jobs, situations, anything that's holding you down, even when it's hard, even when you're scared. Because that's what creates the space for something so much more beautiful to come in.
The source shares a personal story about that, doesn't she? Life getting way better after cutting off negative people.
Yes, seeing it as proof that trusting the process, trusting in like a divine flow really works.
And there was that really striking point about not letting go, especially of someone who wronged you, the karma thing.
Right, the idea, maybe a bit controversial about karma, suggesting that if you hold on to someone, maybe out of pity, even after they've hurt you, you might actually prevent them from learning their lesson.
Yeah.
And in doing so, you kind of take on their burden, their karma or suffering.
So the advice is, let them face their own stuff.
Essentially, let people go through their suffering so they can learn. It's framed as being about energetic hygiene, self-preservation.
And also about just general energy balance, right? Not giving more than you receive.
Yeah, that warning against consistently giving more than you receive energetically, because it just depletes you. It stops you from shining while others are maybe benefiting from your energy drain.
Wow. Makes you really assess where your energy is going. Thinking about your own life, like right now. Where do you feel stuck? Is there something you kind of know you need to let go of to make space, even if the thought is terrifying?
Deep questions. And finally, the source brings it all back home, anchoring everything in this simple, powerful practice, self-appreciation, but doing it now.
Not waiting until you achieve something or looking back years later and thinking, oh, I was actually pretty great then, but seeing it and feeling it today.
Exactly. The source shares her own experience, turning 25 and suddenly just seeing herself differently, appreciating her own beauty in the present, feeling her confidence soar, and actually getting excited about getting older wiser.
That's a really lovely note to end on, this idea that falling in love with yourself, really liking your own energy, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, presented as the most important thing and the source of the most beautiful energy you can possibly have.
Which brings it right back around, doesn't it? This whole idea of hotness isn't about chasing external approval.
No, it's about building this powerful, magnetic internal state that just radiates out naturally.
So this deep dive, it really shows a definition of hot that's profoundly internal. It's rooted in self-worth, abundance, fierce authenticity.
Proactive self-reliance, clear boundaries, and yeah, that willingness to grow by letting things go.
It's a perspective that definitely puts the power back in your own hands, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. It suggests you attract what you want by building that strong inner foundation, managing your mindset, managing your energy, not by chasing or forcing.
It's certainly a big mental shift from seeking external validation to cultivating internal abundance.
Yeah. And if you take the source's core belief seriously that the universe is abundant, that you are this lifelong project capable of achieving what others have, it leaves you with a pretty compelling question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What big ask, what bold step or desire are you maybe holding back from right now? Holding back from pursuing for yourself or for the world? Maybe because you haven't fully stepped into that belief in your own internal abundance and potential.
Definitely something to mull over. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We hope you found it as insightful and thought-provoking as we did.